What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. In today's video we are checking out the i7 Pro electric bicycle. So this is a folding fat tire electric bicycle. We have 20-inch wheels on the front and on the back and also 4-inch wide tires, the fat tires as they are called. This bike is powered by a 750 watt motor that's located in the rear wheel here. We also have dual suspension, so we have a shock on the back and a suspension on the front, and we also have hydraulic disc brakes on the front and on the back. These are also the largest disc brakes that I've seen on any e-bike up until now. With that being said, let's start by doing a bit of an unboxing just so I can show you how the bike comes packed in the box and what you have to do to get this ready and on the road. Alright, so the bike comes in a box that's a bit smaller than most other e-bikes that I've seen in the past, but this is also a pretty heavy box. So the bike itself actually weighs about 35 kilos. So even though you can fold this, you're not going to be able to carry this around too much because it is a pretty heavy bike. Now, out of the box, you basically have to put the handlebar together and the pedals. So the bike is kind of assembled right out of the box. So very easy to put this together. So about 20 minutes to get this ready and on the road. Taking a look at the bike itself, well, this looks more like a motorcycle than a bike, I'm gonna say. And of course, that has a lot to do with those fat tires. Now, if you've seen any videos for any Angui bikes or any PVI bikes, well, this looks pretty similar to those bikes. So of course, having these massive tires will also help whenever you go over uneven terrain. So if you go over bumps or anything like that, you're not really gonna feel those bumps because those big tires will soak up those bumps. When you pair those with the front and rear suspension, you will get a very smooth ride. So wherever you're riding, it's gonna be smooth basically. Starting on the back of the bike here, on the left hand side we have the kickstand. This is made of a combination of plastic and metal, and whenever the bike is on the kickstand it doesn't seem to fall even if it's windy. Then we have the hydraulic disc brake. This is also larger than most other disc brakes that I've seen on other e-bikes in the past, and the braking power from this bike is really good. Probably the best that I've actually had on any e-bike up until now. The brakes also don't squeak or make any noises as well. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and say that this bike has the best braking system on any e-bike that I've got to try up until now. On the back here we also have a bike rack. This is made out of metal. I personally didn't put anything on it, but if you have a bag or something like that, you could definitely carry a bag there. Then we have the mud guard. The mud guard is made out of plastic, and I'm happy to say that the mud guards, the front and the back ones, don't actually make any noise when you go over uneven terrain. We also have a rear light here that will turn on whenever you turn on the headlight. The rear light also acts as a brake light, so whenever you are braking, you'll get an extra light on the back there. And we also have signals on this bike, so you can signal left and right, but that's only available for that rear light. On the right hand side here we have an 8-gear Shimano shifter, and shifting up and down is done flawlessly. You don't actually have to adjust this out of the box, so the shifting system works pretty good as it is out of the box. The 750 watt motor that we have in the rear wheel here has a peak power of 1200 watts, and I have to say this is a very powerful motor. Once again, one of the most powerful of any e-bike that I got to try up until now. So it doesn't matter if you're riding on a flat surface or if you're riding on a hill. For example, this is a pretty steep hill here. You can ride up hills, no problem. I'm actually going to show you a quick example so you can see how the bike does when you go uphill basically. So we have a pretty steep hill around here. I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but it is pretty steep. So I'm leaving it in assistance level 3 and I have the bike in first gear. So it can go up a hill like this no problem at all. If you want, you can also accelerate just to the throttle, and that's why I said this is the most powerful e-bike that I got to try up until now. So I'm not actually pedaling, I'm just accelerating with the throttle on a hill that's pretty steep. So this is quite impressive. No other bike that I tried can actually do this. So power-wise, no problem whatsoever on whatever surface you're riding. So if you're riding on a flat surface or if you're riding uphill, this bike has plenty of power, so you don't actually have to put that much effort into pedaling. Talking about pedaling, so the pedals are made out of metal. They're also foldable, so you can fold them and basically make the bike a bit smaller, I'm gonna say. In the center here we have the rear shock, and of course this will help mostly when you go over uneven terrain. If you're riding on a flat surface, of course you're not gonna notice it as much, but if you start doing jumps and stuff like that with the bike, you're definitely gonna notice that it helps with the overall comfort, I'm gonna say. The seat here has lots of padding, maybe not the most padding that I've seen on a seat, but overall it is pretty comfortable for longer rides as well. And of course you can adjust this in height, so it goes pretty high and pretty low as well. Talking about adjustments, so the handlebar here can also be adjusted in height. And this is very important because the riding position is better when you can actually adjust the handlebar, because you're going to be sitting straight like this instead of being crouched like other bikes. So I'm very happy that you can actually adjust that handlebar in height. In the center here we have the folding mechanism. So as I said at the beginning of the video, this bike is foldable. It takes a couple of minutes to fold it, and you can also remove the battery pack. So the battery pack is located in the frame here. Now, it takes about 6 hours to fully charge this from 0 to 100. As for range, well, I guess it really depends how you're riding. So if you're just using the throttle to accelerate, so you don't actually put that much pedaling in, you're gonna get about 50 to 55 kilometers on one charge. But if you also do some pedaling, so you're not only using the motor, you're gonna get about 80 kilometers on one charge. So this is a fairly big battery pack in this particular bike as well. Moving on to the front of the bike. So first of all, the handlebar here is also foldable. Let me just do that. So this easily folds. Of course, that's gonna help whenever you're folding the entire bike, because this way you can like carry it easier. Maybe you can put it in the car's trunk and stuff like that. But as I said, this is a pretty heavy bike, so keep that in mind. So we'll fold this back. Then we have the front suspension here. This has about 3 inches of travel, and it does work really good. You can also lock the suspension in place. So if you're just going on a flat road, maybe there is no point in having that unlocked, but there is a bit of an issue. So whenever you are going over bigger bumps, the screw that holds in place the front light actually touches the fork here. I've seen this with 2 other bikes in the past. I guess you could fix that by replacing that screw. It's such a shame because it scratched the bike on the front here, so I was not expecting that. But overall, the front suspension does work really well as well. The front light is bright enough to be seen during the day, and of course at night it will light the path ahead of you really well. On the front here we have the same plastic mudguard that we have on the back, or a similar mudguard as we have on the back. And of course we have the hydraulic disc brake as well. And as I mentioned earlier, the braking power from this bike is exceptionally good. Moving on to the handlebar, well, the handlebar is wide enough so you're riding nice and comfortable. You're not crouched in there. Of course, we have the brake levers here. As I mentioned a couple of times already, these are hydraulic disc brakes, and you can also adjust the brakes from here as well. On the left hand side here we have the throttles. So with this bike you can pedal and the bike will assist you, or you can just go with the throttle. It is entirely up to you. If you're a bit on the lazier side like me, maybe you'll use that throttle more. Then we have the power button, a few buttons on the left hand side here, and then we have the screen in the center. Now, the screen is not the brightest screen out there, but you can still see it even on a day like today when it's super sunny out. On the other side here, let me actually power this on. We have the signal. So as I said earlier, you can signal with that rear light, and then we have the horn. Not the loudest horn out there, but it definitely works. So overall, I'm very happy with the riding position and the quality of the materials used for this bike. All right, so I'll quickly show you how you basically ride this bike. We have the power button right here. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see the screen on the camera. It is quite bright out. And from here, we'll change modes. We'll go to assistance level 3, basically. So now, as soon as you start pedaling, the bike will start assisting you, or you can just accelerate from the throttle here. For our first run, we'll just pedal. You'll hear the motor in just a second. So very easy. Or if you want, you can just accelerate from the throttle here, so you don't actually have to put any effort into pedaling at all. And we can also check out the brakes because we're going downhill here. So we're currently doing about 17 miles an hour. So nice and smooth braking, but if you pull on those levers, you can definitely lock those tires. So turn left and we'll go this way. So that easy to ride this bike. You don't actually have to put any effort into riding it. So that's simple. So we'll do another brake test right here. So as I said, you can definitely lock those wheels if you want to. So to quickly conclude this video, the i7 Pro is one of the better built electric folding fat tire bikes that I got to try up until now. I absolutely love the brakes on this bike. Definitely the best braking power that I had on any bike up until now. The materials used all over the bike are really good, and my only thing about this bike, my only complaint about this bike is this screw that holds together the light that scratches the fork. If it wouldn't be for that, the bike would be pretty much perfect, but well, there is that. But as I said, it is a fairly easy fix, I think. So there you have it. This is the i7 Pro. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.